So what happens in between the shooting?
This.
Oh, this is great. So how are you guys finding the meal plan so far?
I'm loving it. You know, everything's nice and fresh and light and healthy. I never feel bloated or heavy.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's energizing.
Any issues with like finding the food or preparing the food?
No, it's super straightforward.
Yeah, I don't even have a car here right now, and I've been able to get everything at the grocery store that I need for every week. Just shove it in a bag.
Yeah, and it's not even really expensive. You know, it's like it's much cheaper than eating out for sure.
That's for sure.
Yeah, so I always bring my lunches everywhere with me, so I'm never caught out, you know. So I always have my Tupperwares and my
the worst feeling
snacks.
is like when you're trying to get through a day and all of a sudden like you feel the shakes kick in,
and you have to eat something.
Yeah, and then you end up scrambling and you eat something that you would never have eaten otherwise. Or
so being prepared is very, very important. Like have the food in hand, have it ready to go.
Speaking of food, one of the things that people always talk about was when they change their diet and they start exercising is women are afraid of losing their boobs. This is such a common question we get is, am I going to lose my boobs if I start to work out?
Listen, the boobs are mostly fat, and if you lose fat, you will lose fat all over your body, including your boobs. It's normal and natural. Hey, what can I say? But the good thing is that boobs are kind of out now. Like butts are in, and the good thing about butts is that you can actually grow a butt on your own. You know, you don't.
It is true.
Yeah.
And the one I don't know if this is too graphic. The one thing I will say, being a heavier chested individual, even though you lose some of it, if you do have more, you'll actually end up with a little bit of a lift. Like they'll be perkier.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's true.
So then they don't actually look smaller. They just look better.
So when you're looking at, I've noticed you've got this magazine, it's W magazine, fashion magazine on the counter here. Do you get body envy when you look at stuff like this? How does that affect you?
I think I know there are all different kinds of bodies out there. There are the Kim Kardashians, there are the super skinny fashion models, and maybe I'm somewhere in between. I'm totally different to both those extremes too. I'm happy with who I am and what I am, and I don't really want to be anything else, and I hope everyone feels that way, honestly.
What about you, T?
What was the question? Sorry.
Oh, you're paying. Thanks for paying.
I'm doing the work. I'm doing the stuff.
I know you're doing the stuff. When you look at, do you get body envy? Do you, when you're looking at magazines, or even like when you're working with Edith, how does that make you?
Honestly, like, especially being around people that I'm very aware of, like, what photographs well and what doesn't photograph well, and being incredibly tiny, especially comparatively, I know that, like, no matter how fit I get or how much I get into this, like, I'm not gonna have the proportions that Edith has. And the more time I spend around these people, especially when I feel they're doing it in a really positive way, it's kind of nice to, like, have that extra motivation. Like, it's kind of inspiring.
Yeah. But I think also as a photographer, you know that I don't always look as good as the photos. Like, sometimes there's bad angles, and like in the magazines, that's like photoshopped and whatever. And it's not really realistic sometimes.
And even like beyond the Photoshop, I think a lot of people, they don't realize how much lighting and how much angles really play into it. Like, the way that you position someone, the way that you portray someone is going to dramatically change how they appear. And it's kind of important to realize that your bones are always going to be your bones. Your shape is always going to be your shape. Like, yes, you can change it, you can sculpt it, but you're not going to manipulate it in the way that, like, these people are 5'10", 5'11". I'm not. I never will be. There's nothing I can do to make myself that way. And you just have to go with that. Like.
But we don't. Just for the record, we don't. When you're doing the post-production on our images and our videos, you're not changing body shapes.
I don't even have time to do any of that. Like, at most, they get a lighting correction, and like maybe if I have time, I straighten it out. There are a lot of tilty pictures on there. Like, nothing is edited. There's such a high volume of images, and what we're doing, like, aside from it not being conducive to that.
Yeah, we're not trying to portray anything fake.
No, it's like, what's the point? It's counterproductive. None of it is.
And a lot of these before and after advertisements, you see, do your before and after belly. Do it. Let's see it.
This is my before with poor lighting. This is my after.
Oh God.
Yeah, so there's a lot of that, and like I know certain bloggers have done that where they've taken their before picture and their after picture like 5 minutes, apart.
Oh yeah.
It's just a matter of lighting and posing the right way and.
If I eat a pizza, I can then park in like the maternity parking spot in any grocery store for sure. Like, without question too. Being like, oh, how far along? Be like, 20 minutes. But
So, we talked a little bit about, there are things about your body that you would like to change still. I mean, that's still, even if you are the sort of the after that a lot of people want to get to, there's still things that you aren't happy with, you want to change. Yeah. So much of all of this seems to be driven by the word cellulite, which interestingly, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Vogue magazine first used that word. They actually invented it.
Really?
It didn't exist before they came out with that term. But so much of what people want to accomplish with their fitness is tied into this idea that they want to get rid of cellulite. So first of all, do you have cellulite?
Some days I do. Some days I do. Sometimes it's there, and then sometimes it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I hear women complain about cellulite a lot, and then I'll be like, "Show me," and I don't see anything. They see it, but I don't know what they're talking about.
And everyone, when they do it, they're like, "Look at this." I was like, "Who's walking around like grabbing both the sides of their legs, being like, look how weird this is." Like, no one does that.
And all these little defects that we hang up on. Like 99% of the time, nobody else notices it. It's only you. You're the worst critic of yourself. Nobody else sees it or cares.
So I think the average guy doesn't see the flaws that women see in themselves, and probably vice versa. And I don't think it's one sex or another. I think we all see things in ourselves.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And women criticizing other women, I think that's a dangerous thing too.
I think that's the biggest thing, and like part of it comes from that envy, like of you wanting to be them, and you either tear them down because you're jealous or whatever it is. It's like this constant battle of like wanting to be someone else, and it's counterproductive in so many ways. Like you're yourself, you're always going to be that way, so like get over it, get on with that, and just kind of embrace it.
Well, I'll let you guys eat now.
Thanks.